Bret Calhoun's one of the bright training stars in the ranks these days. Very good at many things, but Bret in particular, you've had some great success in turf sprints. What's your secret there?
I've just been lucky to have a few nice grass sprinters. Several years ago, I had Mr. Nightlinger. That was a very good grass sprinter. I think he was versatile. He was a horse that could do either thing. Things that make horses grass horses or dirt horses, I think, sometimes maybe his feet bothered him a little bit, and I think he tended to move forward on the grass because it was a little more comfortable for him. Then you move forward to Chamberlain Bridge. A similar situation with him. His pedigree really stuck out for the grass. I mean, top and bottom. And I think that has a lot to do with it. I think sometimes the kickback of the dirt horses don't like it, and you can put them on the turf, and there's not as much kickback. It's not as painful of a sting. So there again with Chamberlain Bridge, I think one of the reasons that made him a good turf horse was pedigree, but also he hit 4 white feet. And that's the only thing that we really battled during his career was some quarter cracks here and there and tender feet. And I think that's another reason he thrived on the turf.
You mentioned the 4 white feet. People often talk about the shape of the foot. Do you subscribe to that theory? Is there such a thing as a turf foot, and what is it?
Not from my experience. It really hasn't been. They've all shapes, sizes, and forms, body styles, feet. It's strange, and I think pedigree does play heavily into it on grass horses. But I've also had horses that had no turf pedigree at all and have run very, very well on it. I think it's one of those things you just have to try.
What role, if any, does running style, particularly speed, play in terms of success on the turf? Obviously, in sprint races, it's going to be a little bit more important, but does it have a role as well in longer turf races?
Well, what's been really key, I think, in turf races is turn of foot. It's amazing. You can see these dirt horses, kind of grinders, good cruising speed and just keep grinding it out, but don't really have a turn of foot. A lot of times those horses won't do very well on the turf. I think they have to have a real turn of foot to win races on the turf. A lot of times especially in route racing, it's a little slower paced and it's a sprint home, kind of somewhat similar to some of the European racing. Obviously with the good horses, you have to have speed no matter if you're going short or long, dirt or turf, but I think a high turn of foot is pretty key in turf racing.
Do you train turf horses any differently than other horses, and is there something different in the workouts that people might look at when they're looking at horses in the past performances going into grass races?
Really don't train them a lot differently. The only thing you have to be aware of with training grass horses, you're training them on the dirt most of the time. We don't get the opportunity to breeze them, give speed works on the turf very often. And a lot of times these turf horses don't put their best foot forward on the dirt in the morning training. So you're always concerned about fitness sometimes. So you maybe want to train those horses a little differently, maybe put a few more miles in them, work them a little farther. The grass sprinters for me have been very, very easy. You're going 5.5. You can keep them fit pretty easily. But the two-turn horses, I think, can be an issue because you don't get a lot of them out of them in the morning in their breezes. Sometimes they just don't care for it and won't put a lot of effort into it.
And finally, I've heard that turf racing can sometimes take less out of a horse, that they can recover more quickly. Do you find that to be true? Absolutely. I think they bounce out of turf races better. They come out sounder, I believe, a lot of times. It's just not near as hard on them. And therefore, I think they come out of it a little fresher. We sure appreciate your time, and you do have a knack with those horses, but other types as well. Appreciate it, Bret.
Thank you.